Imagine this feeling. It's Monday morning, or maybe it's Wednesday. The day doesn't really matter anymore. The alarm cuts through the silence, but you don't just wake up. You rise from the dead. Your body has slept for 8 hours. You took your vitamins. You tried to go to bed early. Yet, when your feet touch the cold floor, you feel a heaviness, as if you've been carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders all night long. You look in the mirror and see a person who isn't just sleepy. You see a person who has run out of fuel for life itself. You tell yourself, "I'm just tired. I need a vacation. I need to catch up on sleep." But you are lying, and somewhere deep down, you know the truth. You are not tired. You are empty. We live in the era of the greatest lie about the human condition. We are told that our battery drains only from physical labor, that if you feel broken, it means you need a spa day, a weekend by the sea, or just one more cup of coffee. We treat the symptoms while ignoring the disease. We try to bandage a fracture of the soul. The ancient Stoics knew what we have forgotten in our pursuit of comfort. If your spirit is exhausted, your body will never find rest. Even on the softest bed in the world, you don't need sleep. You need meaning. You aren't exhausted by work. You are exhausted by pretense. Let's be honest. How many times in the last month have you felt absolutely, totally drained, even if you spent the entire day sitting at a computer or scrolling through your phone? Physically, you didn't unload cargo ships. You didn't run a marathon, and you didn't fight in a legion. Your body was in stasis, in comfort, in safety, yet by evening, you feel as though you've survived a shipwreck. This is the paradox of the modern world. We have more comforts than any emperor of the past, but less energy than a rower on a galley. We confuse muscle exhaustion with the exhaustion of the will. The Roman philosopher Seneca, a man who managed an empire and saw both extreme luxury and deadly danger, once observed, "We are not short of time, only of clarity." When he said this, he pointed to the root of the problem we stubbornly ignore. We think energy is just calories and hours of sleep. We treat ourselves like machines. Pour in the fuel, switch off for the night, and in the morning the mechanism should work. But a human being is not a smartphone. We cannot simply be plugged in to recharge. Our energy does not come from food or pillows. It comes from being in agreement with oneself. What you call tiredness is actually the quiet but constant scream of a soul forced to live by someone else's script. Imagine holding your arm out in front of you. You aren't holding anything heavy, maybe just a glass of water. At first, it's easy. But try holding it there for an hour, a day, a year. The muscles will begin to burn, and then they will go numb. The weight hasn't changed. What changed is the duration of the tension. Spiritual emptiness is the result of holding up a mask that doesn't belong to you for too long. You are holding the weight of other people's expectations, the weight of fear for the future, the weight of resentment from the past. And no amount of sleep in the world will help you lower that arm until you make a conscious decision to unclench your fingers. The first and deepest sign that you are spiritually empty is the loss of authorship over your own life. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is in our power and what is not. But modern man has rented out the only thing he truly possesses, his will, to society. Think about your typical day. How many actions do you take because you genuinely, sincerely believe them to be right and necessary? And how many do you take because you have to, because everyone else does, or because you are afraid of disappointing someone? Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journals, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself, to make it just and holy." Every time you act to gain the approval of people you don't even like, you punch a hole in the vessel of your soul. Energy leaks out through these breaches. You smile at a colleague you despise. You buy things to impress strangers on the internet. You stay silent when you want to scream, and you agree when you want to refuse. This isn't just social politeness. It is a betrayal of your own nature. Every act of pretense requires a colossal amount of psychic energy. Being yourself is easy. It is a natural state, like water flowing downhill. Being someone else is work. It's like holding an inflated ball underwater. The moment you relax, the truth will shoot to the surface. That is why you are so tired. You spend all your strength suppressing your true nature, playing a role in a play you hate. You are an actor who has forgotten he is on stage and now thinks the mask has grown onto his face. The second reason for your chronic fatigue is that you are living in a mode of constant reaction. We have become a society of reflexes, not reflections. Epictetus, the great Stoic born a slave, said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Look at your life through this lens. A notification on your phone and your attention is stolen. Bad news in the feed, and your mood is ruined. A rude word on the bus, and your inner world is destroyed for half the day. You aren't tired of life. You are tired of being constantly yanked by strings. You have handed the remote control of your state of mind to the entire world. The weather, politics, exchange rates, your boss's mood, comments on social media, all of these have direct access to your nervous system without your permission. You are like a house without doors, through which any stranger can walk, tracking mud onto the carpet. Of course, you are exhausted. You are constantly in a state of defense or flight, even while sitting in a soft chair. Stoicism offers a radical alternative, the inner citadel, the idea that your mind is a fortress, and only you decide who gets to cross the drawbridge. When you react to everything, you scatter yourself into atoms. You give a piece of your soul to every irritant. By the end of the day, there is nothing left of you for yourself. The third horseman of this spiritual apocalypse is meaningless busyness. Seneca called this busy idleness. We all know the feeling. You were busy all day. You answered 50 emails, held 3 meetings, made lists, checked boxes. You ran so fast the wind whistled in your ears. But when the silence of the night comes, you ask yourself, what did I actually do? And the answer is a frightening void. We have replaced meaning with speed. We think that if we move fast enough, the emptiness inside won't be able to catch us. But the emptiness isn't outside. It's inside. It's riding in the car with you. Doing a lot does not mean doing what is important. Spiritual fatigue arises not from the quantity of work, but from the absence of a why. A human being can endure any how if they have a why. When your actions do not lead to your true goal, when they are disconnected from your deep values, every movement becomes friction. Imagine a car stuck in the mud. The wheels spin furiously, the engine roars, fuel burns, parts wear out. But there is no movement. This is the portrait of modern man. Massive effort with zero existential displacement. You don't burn out from work. You burn out from the meaninglessness of that work. You are building sandcastles knowing the tide will wash them away. And this knowledge, pushed into the subconscious, drains your will to live. So how do we fill this empty vessel? How do we stop being tired ghosts in our own lives? The first step is the scariest. You must stop. The modern world hates pauses. Silence has become our enemy, because in silence we hear what we try to drown out with music, podcasts, and shows. We hear our own voice saying, "This is not the life I wanted." But healing begins only in silence. Marcus Aurelius advised, people look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. There is nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble-free retreat than in his own mind. You don't need a vacation in Bali. You need a vacation from your own ego and the noise of the world. Try the practice of doing nothing. Sit and just be. Don't meditate with a goal. Don't plan. Let the mud settle so the water can become clear. You will see that most of your desires are not yours. Most of your fears are illusions. Energy returns not when you add something to yourself, coffee, emotions, impressions, but when you remove the unnecessary. Stopping is the closing of the valves through which your power leaks. The next step is renegotiating your contract with desire. We are unhappy and empty because we constantly want what we do not have and fear losing what we do have. The Stoics taught us a harsh but liberating truth. Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. And since desires are infinite, you are permanently unhappy. When you constantly want reality to be different, you are at war with the gods, with nature, with the universe itself. This war is lost in advance, and it takes all your strength. Amor fati, love of fate. This is not passivity. This is accepting the rules of the game. Imagine how much energy would be freed up if you stopped resisting the rain, the traffic, the aging process, the opinions of others. If you said, "This is happening, and it is fine, I will work with what is." In that moment, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become a master. You stop wasting strength punching the water. You start swimming. Spiritual fulfillment comes from agreement with reality. When you stop demanding that the world entertain and pamper you, you discover that you have your own source within. You are not empty. You have simply buried your source under the rocks of unnecessary expectations. Clear the rocks. Simplify. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." Become rich through the limitation of desires, and you will feel a surge of strength that no money could buy. You must understand one thing. To stop being empty, you must allow a part of yourself to die. The part that craves validation, the part that fears being misunderstood, the part that measures success by numbers in an account. This is a painful process. We cling to our chains because they are familiar. We love our cage because we know every corner of it. But Stoicism is a philosophy for warriors, not sufferers. It is a call to the courage to be oneself. Zeno, after losing his entire fortune in a shipwreck, said, "Fortune commands me to be a philosopher." He didn't weep over the lost cargo. He used the catastrophe as fuel for transformation. Your current emptiness, your apathy, your burnout, this is your shipwreck. It is not the end. It is a signal. Life is screaming at you. Your old way has led to a dead end. Find a new one. Do not fear this void. The void is space for the new. If a cup is full of old, sour tea, you cannot pour in fresh wine. Pour out the old. Accept this period of not knowing, this period of silence. Stop trying to be a productive robot. Become a living human who feels pain but does not break from it, but studies it. Look at your life right now, not with the eyes of a tired worker, but with the eyes of eternity. Everything that worries you right now is dust. All the deadlines, all the obligations, all these important meetings, they will dissolve in time like smoke. Only one thing will remain: the quality of your consciousness. Your ability to stand straight when the world collapses. Your ability to keep kindness and reason when madness is all around. You are not tired. You have been deceived. You were told that you are a resource to be squeezed, but you are not a resource. You are a spark of the Logos. You are part of a vast living cosmos. And the heaviness you feel is the heaviness of forgotten divinity within you. Cast off the unnecessary. Stop running. Return to your inner citadel. It is quiet there. There is always light there, even if there is a storm outside. Do not look for energy in the external world. It is not there. There are only vampires of your attention. The source is inside. The next time you wake up with that feeling of leaden heaviness, do not close your eyes hoping to disappear. Stand up, walk to the window, Breathe in the air and tell yourself the truth. I am not weak. I have simply gone too long without doing anything for myself. Now go and do one thing. Not for your boss, not for your family, not for your image, for your immortal soul. Do it slowly, do it consciously, and start living again.